Does that factor into Pokimane's video? Maybe, maybe not. The reason I connect the two is because I know that sometimes, regardless of how much we've worked through something, regardless of how over it we think we are, regardless of the steps we've made, that trauma can come back out of nowhere and smack us around a bit. PTSD is real, and it's not something you can control. I was reading some streamer news this morning, and I saw that Pokimane, who is probably the most famous Twitch streamer ever, maybe, is once again showing signs of what we can only call potential mental health crisis. There's a sign out there. Obviously, I don't know her personally, and I don't follow her content very much, but she's in the Twitch universe, and she's certainly something we all kind of know a little bit about. I'm not super comfortable talking behind someone's back or talking about them without knowing them, but what we're going to talk about is all public knowledge. It's all stuff that you can see online. None of it's private, obviously. And so I feel like it will be a good jumping off point for our talk. So just to give a little bit of backstory, a couple years ago, Pokimane got a hate raid from a streamer named Jidion, Jidion, that caused her a lot of problems. It was super stressful for her whole community. After a couple days, the one who hate raided her was given a permanent ban on Twitch. However, the hate raiders didn't stop there. They were harassing her on Twitter and accusing her of bizarre things and just making her life generally miserable. A few months later, Pokimane took an extended mental health break to try to refocus her life online and offline, and she shared a lot of the usual symptoms, right? Content fatigue and constant pressure from catching trends and analytic anxiety and all the trials that come with being a public figure. Like, she was talking like many do and many have gone through, and she said she needs a break. So after about 6 weeks, she comes back. She's talking about this new chapter of her content creation journey, and it seemed to be fine. She came back in stride, doing this usual content stuff, and also, you know, the normal clickbait controversy stuff that all these big guys do so that they can get themselves onto Twitter and trending. But then after a while, she did something a little unique, which is she started selling some very fancy cookies. But that was met with some very mixed reviews and some accusations that I'm certain didn't help her mental health recovery journey. Now, that was November 2023, which wasn't that long ago. So today I open up the streamer news and I see that on May 4th, so just a couple days ago, Pokimane uploaded a short clip that has some people concerned that she might be facing another crisis. So let me play that clip for you. Here's what she said.
You know when you're not feeling your best and someone goes, "Damn, you look like you lost some weight. Have you been in the gym?" I've been in my feels. I've had no appetite. Thinking about ending it all. Yeah.
It almost sounds like a joke. It could be a joke, like it could be gallows humor. It could be another thing that she did to stir up attention, but at the very least, all the words are very troubling, right? That idea of, you know what it's like when your friends come up to you or someone comes up to you and is like, "Hey, you're looking good." And the reason you are looking that way is because you didn't eat and you're super depressed. And then at the end, she says she wants to thinking about ending it all. Now, was that gallows humor? Was that just some way to stir up attention? I don't know. Regardless, it's a very troubling thing to see from someone who has struggled with mental health issues in the past. As someone who's faced that myself and someone who has counseled people through it, it's definitely not great to see. So there's something that happened today. In light of what happened that I read today, something else that occurred within the last couple of days, it makes me wonder if these two things are connected. So it turns out that Gideon, the streamer that hate rated her before, is seemingly coming back. He hurt her a lot. There was a bunch of controversy. It was really difficult for her. And then as of yesterday, May 6th, he's no longer permabanned. He's no longer permanently banned. He's actually back after a couple years. Now, in the meantime, Gideon he's issued a public apology. He issued a private apology. He's told his fans to leave Pokimane alone. He did a surprise collab with her. Apparently, he's even turned his life over to Jesus. He's deleted all of his old videos because they no longer reflect his beliefs. And he says when he comes back, he wants to talk about the gospel and talk about Jesus. So it all sounds good from that side, right? I don't know him at all. I know him less than I know Pokimane. It seems like a legitimate guy who's made a bunch of mistakes, became a believer, and has done what is necessary to reconcile to God and to Pokimane. So, does that factor into Pokimane's video? Maybe, maybe not. The reason I connect the two is because I know that sometimes, regardless of how much we've worked through something, regardless of how over it we think we are, regardless of the steps we've made, that trauma can come back out of nowhere and smack us around a bit. PTSD is real, and it's not something you can control. You suddenly face it out of nowhere. You're walking through the grocery store, you're walking downtown, you're sitting in a conversation, something happens, and all of a sudden, all those emotions from before hit you like a truck. You just can't stop it. So are they connected? I don't know. What I do know is that there was someone who was struggling with difficult mental health stuff, who faced some burnout, who claimed a bunch of burnout symptoms, took some time, and over the last couple of days has said some very troubling things, which got me thinking. Because you streamers are so close to my heart, and content creators in general, close to my heart. And one of the things that you guys keep facing, and one of the things that so many creators face, is burnout. One of the things that was the launch of the heart behind Taco was that we want to make sure that we care for these streamers who have no one else to care for them. They don't have pastors, and they don't have communities. They don't have people that are validating or helping or holding them accountable or taking care of them. They're just kind of out there and at risk. And part of what I do as executive director of Taco and a teacher and someone who loves you guys is I go and hang out with various streamers. I watch various pieces of content. And I usually can't stay very long, but I like jumping in, saying hello, seeing what's up, spreading a little encouragement if I can. Lately, though, I have noticed that a lot of the streamers that I drop in on are showing some real signs of burnout. They not only look tired, and I mean like a different level of tired than the usual tired creator stereotype. They look like a deeper level of tired. But not just that, I hear them speak of being frustrated with themselves, overwhelmed by life, inside and outside of content creation, that they have trouble sleeping, that they have low motivation, that they feel pessimistic, that they feel uncreative. And then at the same time, they feel this pressure to keep creating and keep grinding and unable to kind of mentally disengage. They're always thinking about their content, always about their platform. They're always anxious about the future and finances and life and themselves and everybody. Their bodies feel off. They have money problems. They have job security issues. And quite often, they feel that despite the support of their community, despite the support of their audience, they feel very alone. Those are all signs of burnout, potential burnout. They've got me worried about the general Christian content creator community at large and creators in general. I wonder if maybe you felt this too. It's not just streamers who feel this, it's all kinds of content creators. It just happens to be that I'm a streamer and I spend a lot of time with streamers. So if you felt this way, maybe you understand it. I know how this feels. I've actually hit real legit burnout twice. The first time was in 2008 when I was pastoring what can only be called an abusive church, who had been doing some pretty terrible things to me both privately and publicly, and for a very long time. I won't go into a ton of details, but suffice to say that over a period about a year and a half, they allowed some very toxic people to throw everything they could at me, from false accusations to publicly exposing private meeting notes to making me sit in the sanctuary, telling me I wasn't allowed to speak while everyone could just parade by and lay into me. To dozens of midnight meetings where they would present this witch hunt stuff about me and then be proven wrong again and again, but keep inviting me back to the meetings. Basically, they threw every demonic, unbiblical thing they could think of at me because I was preaching the word and because I kept saying things like, that's not what the Bible says, right? I was the pastor, though. I had no clarity from God about doing anything else, so I just kept going. I went to the meetings. I sat in front of these people. I kept doing what I thought was right. Eventually, my body couldn't take it anymore. My body was in pain. I couldn't sleep. My stomach was wrecked. My emotions were shutting down. For weeks on end, my new favorite word was whatever. I said it all the time. I didn't have anything left in the tank. I was just this zombie punching bag. Someone would say, hey, I want to do this thing to you. And I'd be like, whatever. Hey, do you want to do this thing? Whatever. You know, it didn't matter. I didn't have anything left. I was just a zombie punching bag. I even got to the place where I was contemplating ending my life so I could end the pain without actually having quit the ministry that God had called me to. And I know that's messed up. I know that's really messed up, that I would not want to quit pastoring, but would instead end my life so I wouldn't have to quit pastoring. It doesn't make sense. I was not doing very well at the time. That's when a few pastors in my area finally stepped in and rescued me, essentially. They went to the church board. They told them the effect they were having on me, how worried they were about me, what they were seeing and hearing from me, and they pulled me out. They even paid for me to have a 3-month sabbatical. Now, after 2 weeks into the sabbatical, I thought I was ready to go back. I'd had a little break. I wasn't doing anything. It felt like a waste of space. And I thought, you know what? Just send me back in. I'm all rested up. Let's go. Of course, they said no. And then after 3 months, so after about 90 days, not 2 weeks, but like 90 days of being off, I just barely started to realize how messed up things were on the inside. The distance had allowed me to start kind of feeling again, to start processing my thoughts and processing my feelings and all the things that I'd kind of locked in that box inside of me so I could keep going. All that stuff in the box started leaking out, and I didn't know what to do with it. I could finally feel how overwhelmed I was, how tired I was, how cynical and angry and sad I'd actually become. I could feel how much I resented the leadership, feared stepping into the pulpit, was anxious about even going into a church, not just the church I was pastoring, but any church ever again. It brought me huge anxiety. In fact, it's been 15 years since then, and despite a lot of counseling, a lot of healing, a lot of good things, I still feel the effects of that burnout. Which is why when I see those symptoms in content creators, in Pokimane, in the Christian content creator community, among people I know and I care about, it makes me want to say something. It makes me want to jump in. It makes me want to give warning, to help in whatever way I can before you hit burnout. Because burnout is no fun, not at all. And so I figured that over the next little bit here, what I want to cover in these podcasts is some important things you need to know about how to spot burnout, how to avoid burnout, how to do self-care, how to make a healthy schedule, how to take time off, and whatever else I can think of, or whatever else you can think of if you send me topics that can stem this tide before we see a wave of Christian creators having meltdowns and ending up on the news. I don't want that. You don't want that. And so I want this podcast to be helpful. All right. That's the plan. So to start, what I want to do is I want to give you a beginning exercise. It's something I've done recently. It's something that I recommended to other creators. I've taken some through to give you a picture of what's going on in your own head when it comes to content creation and how close you are to burnout. It's like a test. Okay. It's something I want you to do in order to be able to see the reality of what's happening inside of you. It's just kind of a reality check of what you're doing and what your expectations of yourself are. If you want to see mine, you can go to my coffee page. You look for a post entitled, "Oh, That's Why I'm So Tired," and Finding Balance, My Journey Toward a More Sustainable Schedule, okay? Look for those two. If you want to go through this, I'll give you the examples of what to do. But if you want to see what I did, go to "Oh, That's Why I'm So Tired," and Finding Balance, My Journey Towards a More Sustainable Schedule. I'll try to put those links into the notes. So here's what I want you to do. Number one, I want you to write out how you spend your time weekly. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I want you to write it all down and put how long it takes you. Okay? Not just what you do, but how long it actually takes you. And if you don't know, then you have to start by kind of tracking that, paying attention to it, putting it out there and being like, how long did it actually take me to stream and to do all these things and to eat and to sleep and to all that stuff? Track it. And then write down how long it takes you. How long do you create for, or edit for, or post? How long do you go to work for? How long are you on Discord per day or checking social media? How long are you working on community stuff or having meetings or sleeping or preparing food or eating or going out with people or taking care of something you need to take? How long are you doing that? The things that you actually do each week, the scheduled stuff that you got to do. When I did this the first time, I actually came up that I had about 65 hours per week scheduled, just to maintain my existing plan. And that's just content creator stuff. That's just taco stuff. That is not any extra meetings. That's not even family stuff. That is just 65 hours of what I thought was necessary to keep Taco and Christian Ninja Channel going. Okay, so that's 65 hours for me. What is it for you? Now, the second thing I want you to do after you've made that list is make another list of all the things you keep telling yourself that you need to find time for. The stuff that you've got nagging in the back of your mind, the things that you know if you don't do, it's going to cause problems in the future, right? That's stuff that I need to find time for this. I need to find time for this. I got to get that done. For example, maybe you've told yourself you really need to find time for self-care, exercise, shopping properly, whatever. Maybe daily devotions, time with your friends, time with your family, fundraising, doing community events, planning collaborations, skill development, church group attendance, practicing a musical instrument, doing your homework, volunteering somewhere, things that you've said to yourself, man, I really got to do that. And if I don't do that, that's going to be consequences. So first list is what you're doing. Second list is stuff that you need, that you keep telling yourself you need to find time for because it's important. Write those down too. Now, when I did that, I came up with a list of things that needed another 25 hours per week. Okay. So at this point, I was at 90 hours of things per week I need to do, which is already insane. Now, the third list I want you to do is all the things that you have committed to but haven't started yet. Projects that are coming due and things that you've had on the back burner for a while. Maybe it's things like your budget or fixing your filing system or dealing with the bugs on whatever, or updating your social media links or following through on something you'd agreed to do for someone else or preparing for an upcoming meeting or something else. That if you don't complete it, it will eventually bite you in the butt. Right? So it's stuff that not only you're doing and not only do you know you need to do, but stuff that you're like, man, I've already said yes to this stuff. I've already got this in my head. I've already been pushing this back. What are those things? Now, when I did that, I'd actually come up with 65 more hours of things that I had agreed to and kept pushing, or I told myself I needed to do. Right? It was hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. So the three are the things you're doing, the things you need to find time for, and the projects that you want to get done. The things that you're like, man, I got to get this done. I got to do this thing. I want to edit this video. I want to do all these things. The stuff you want to get done that you've been putting on the back burner for a while that you've either pre-committed to or whatever. What is that? Now, why are you doing this? Just think of what I did to myself. I had 65 more hours or more of content creator stuff that I'd locked myself into. And that's assuming everything went well, that I didn't go over time, that I didn't have extra meetings, that I didn't have people interrupting me. And I always had those things. So it was definitely never going to happen. Plus, I was carrying around the anxiety of 100 more hours of things of pressure that I needed to do, of guilt, of stuff that I was supposed to get done. I'd locked myself into this idea that I needed 100 hours a week to get anything done. And when I did this, I took another creator through this, and they sent me a DM. They said, I'm only a couple weekly tasks into this schedule, and I already see the point. Now, why? It's because once something goes from brain to paper, it suddenly becomes very real to us. We're forced to contend with the reality of our thoughts and our plans. Now, I'm convinced that's why people hate budgets and they hate calendars so much. Because as long as you keep it in your head, you can kind of live in denial. I probably have enough money. I'm sure it'll be fine. I have enough time for sure. It'll probably work out. I know what I'm doing. But in the meantime, your brain is melting and your subconscious is screaming and your body is falling apart from under you. And for some reason, you don't know why. It's then when you hear them say, you know what? I just need a better to-do list. I just need to buckle down. I got to pull up my socks. I got to suck it up and get it done. Or guilt. Oh man, I'm just being lazy. I could get it done if I just stopped being lazy. They keep apologizing for things, pushing things off, forgetting things. Can't get two thoughts strung together in their head. They can't muster enough energy to get what they want done, even the bare stuff. And they are in this perpetual loop of guilt and fear and frustration and shame. And they keep adding more. I just need a better list. I just got to buckle down. I'm just being lazy. Oh, I can't do it. I'm so tired. I need a nap. I shouldn't take that nap. Oh my goodness. I'm so tired. But if I take a nap, it's going to be, I better stay up later. Oh, I can't. Then you're sitting in front of the TV, completely melted out, and you feel bad the whole time. No matter what you do, you're in the wrong place doing the wrong thing, and you're losing your mind. That is burnout. It's not until someone tells you to stop and write down what you're doing, what you say you need to do, and what you want to do, that you start to realize that your expectations are completely unrealistic. That's what I want you to do. I want you to write down all these things so you can stop living in denial. So you are forced to contend with the reality of the expectations you have given yourself. I wouldn't be surprised if you come to the same realization I did, that many others who do this exercise have done, is that you realize you have asked yourself to do the impossible and you're guilt tripping yourself as to why you can't do it. You have taken the weight of the world upon yourself, the weight of more than you can possibly do, projects that you could never possibly get to, ideas that have made you feel horrible, that used to be fun. You used to love content creation, love hanging out with your community, used to be excited to get in front of the computer, pick up your phone, whatever it was, but now you dread it. It's exhausting and you feel bad. You might even be angry with God that he called you into something so difficult, angry with your community that they want so much, angry with your family that they're getting in the way. You're just altogether messed up and you are on the edge of burnout and doing something permanent to damage yourself and your relationships. Now, this isn't the end of the exercise, of course. This is just step one. I'm going to end the episode here, but we're going to come back next week with next step. But in the meantime, I want you to work hard on that list. Really dig deep to see the expectations you put on yourself. And remember, this isn't meant to make you feel guilty. It's not meant to, make you feel bad for all the stuff you're not doing. It's meant to give you a reality check that you have fallen into a trap, that you have faced temptation and fallen into it, that you're in danger, that if you don't make some changes, you're going to do damage to yourself, to the people you care about, to your content, and to your online community. If you want help doing this, join the Taco Discord and ask some of the content creator groups for help. I'm sure a few people are going to be doing this. Or DM me directly and I will help in whatever way I can.